So we're gonna have this conversation right now, Paris. I know you've been very vocal about it on Twitter. Let's go from there, man. Your thoughts and how this conversation came about that you wanted to post about this on Twitter. We'll go from there.
So XCast, kind of funny XCast. You know, I've been on there a few times, and I watch it every Saturday morning, 6 a.m. when it comes out. I really enjoy it, so I'm watching it, and I hear Gary Whitta and Alana are talking about it, and Gary is emphatic that Bethesda will still have their IPs on PlayStation. And as I'm listening to this, trust me, I did not mean for this to blow up into what it did, but I'm just watching it real time, and I just tweeted out my thought that I go, wow, I think this is the first time I'm actually disagreeing with what they're saying, because I don't agree with Gary. I just don't. I don't see Bethesda, their major IPs, being on the PlayStation platform moving forward. And I'll say it this way. $7.5 billion. Not 75 million, not $7.50. $7.5 billion. You do not acquire an entire publisher and all their studios and their intellectual property to just have timed exclusives and DLC perks and first on Gamepass and things like that. You spend that is almost double what Disney spent on Star Wars. Think about that, okay? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I understand the arguments that come out about, well, look at Minecraft, look at this, look at that. Of course, Microsoft is not going to rip away existing deals or existing IPs that have shown up on other platforms. So again, just looking at it from a Bethesda standpoint, Fallout 76 is going to continue to be everywhere. Of course it is. Elder Scrolls Online is going to continue to be everywhere. Makes sense, right? But when we start to get into the new sequels and the new IPs that Bethesda's working on, it doesn't make business sense to make that major of an acquisition and leave everything status quo. Why did you spend $7.5 billion then? You could have spent, quote unquote, $75 million and got all those games on Game Pass or some timed exclusive deals, things like that. No, if you're going to absolutely acquire that publisher, you're doing it because you're doing it to bolster your library, to bolster your exclusive lineup. So one of the main arguments I've seen this entire time is that Xbox needs PlayStation. They need to continue to, because they can get the 30% cut. It's smart business. They can make more money that way. So let me throw this scenario out at you. Google. Mm-hmm. Google and Microsoft are both trillion-dollar companies. I think we can all agree on that, correct? Google has their own gaming platform in Stadia. I think we can agree on that, right? Google also is in the business of making money. I think we can all agree on that too, correct? If Google would have purchased Bethesda, if the same thing happened, but it was Google that just did it, what would people be saying right now? Well, Bethesda's going exclusive to Stadia, because that's exactly what would have happened. It would not even be showing up on PC. It damn sure wouldn't be showing up on an Xbox or a PlayStation or Switch platform. It would be exclusive to Stadia. And why would Google do that? Because Google is trying to bolster their platform. They want you subscribing to Stadia. That's the whole point here. This is the whole point of what Microsoft is doing. Microsoft, sure, short term, they could lose some money by not having those IPs on PlayStation. And again, they're going to honor the agreements with like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, things like that. That's not going to change. I'm talking about future sequels and new IPs that are going to come out. Sure, short term, there might be a loss, but Microsoft is $1.5 trillion company. That's $7.5 billion that they spent. You know, I'm not saying it's a drop in the bucket. That's obviously a lot of money, but they can absorb that loss. They can handle that kind of loss because they're looking at the long game here. And what is the long game for Microsoft? They want you to subscribe to Game Pass. Ultimately, that is what they want you to do. They want you to subscribe to Game Pass because they want you in their ecosystem. If they were to allow Starfield and Fallout 5, etc., to be on PlayStation, sure, they'll get a short-term financial gain from that. But you know what they're not going to get? They're not going to get that PlayStation guy that was never going to subscribe to Game Pass or buy Xbox hardware to second guess themselves and reconsider. What they're trying to do is to get people to subscribe to Game Pass and potentially buy Xbox hardware, because their ultimate plan is this. When Phil Spencer talks about, you know, gaming for everyone and all that kind of stuff, it ain't about PlayStation. It's about subscribing to Game Pass. You have the option to buy Xbox hardware. You have the option to play on PC. But the real Trojan horse is that cloud. Because guess what? Just on Android alone, there's over 1 billion people on Android, not to mention the people that are being on iOS and all that. They're trying to get people that are on mobile devices to start playing games. So that's why they're bolstering their Game Pass library to show this robust thing to get people to consider that. They can't worry about, you know, the potential 100 million, and it's not even 100 million realistically. You're probably talking about 20 million people potentially that would pick up a Bethesda title on PlayStation versus anywhere else. Again, and that's being very generous, even saying 20 million. They can't worry about those 20 million when there's 1 billion other people that they're trying to get into their ecosystem. They don't want you sitting outside the ecosystem. You buying a $70 Fallout 5 does not give you the incentive to want to go subscribe to Game Pass. You see what I'm saying? So there, you have to make things exclusive. That's the whole point of this. And I understand people are like, oh, Microsoft, this is a different Microsoft. They're trying to make gaming for everyone. Listen to what Phil Spencer's been saying. Yes, listen to what Phil Spencer is saying. At no point has he said we're putting it on PlayStation. He just says they want gaming to everyone. Now I'll tell you this. If, and this is not happening, if Nintendo and PlayStation were to say, yep, we'll allow Game Pass, guess what? Fallout, Elder Scrolls, all those, Halo, everything will be on PlayStation. Because guess what? Now you're subscribing to Game Pass. That's the point. They have to give you an incentive to subscribe to Game Pass. And the only way they can get a PlayStation person to subscribe to Game Pass is to take those IPs away from them and give them the incentive. Like if someone really wants to play Fallout, they really want to play Starfield, the Elder Scrolls, Doom, Wolfenstein, on down the line, you can't allow them to play it on PlayStation if you want them to subscribe to Game Pass. This is business. This is the long game. Stop looking short term. The long game says those titles will not show up on a PlayStation platform. And if you listen to what Phil Spencer is saying, he goes case by case basis. In other words, I don't want to rock the boat right now and say crazy stuff until the deal is final. Because that case by case basis, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen on a case by case basis. Should we allow Starfield to be on PlayStation? No. Should we allow the Elder Scrolls 6 to be on PlayStation? No. Should we allow Fallout 5 to be on PlayStation? No. Should we allow Wolfenstein 3 to be on PlayStation? No. On down the line. This is the point I'm trying to make. They want you subscribing to Game Pass. That is the end game here. You would not have seen such a big deal this week from all these execs at Xbox, even Satya Nadella himself saying this, 23 studios, all that. The whole reason they're keeping Bethesda as a publisher is they don't want to rock that boat, that workflow, that what that publisher has accomplished over the past couple decades. They're going to allow them to continue to do their job as they've been doing it. But guess what? When it comes time to actually publish the game, guess who makes that call? It ain't Pete Hines. It ain't Todd Howard. It's Phil Spencer. And
Phil Spencer,
I'm telling you, it ain't showing up on PlayStation. So, look, I've seen the arguments both ways, and I get it. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm trying to look at this beyond 2020, beyond 2021, 2022. I'm trying to look at this when the Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, when Starfield comes out. Where is Microsoft going to be positioned at that point? You know, it just doesn't make sense for them to make this big of an acquisition and spend that amount of money to just leave things exactly the way they are today. Why spend the money if that's what you're doing? It makes no sense. Because again, yes, they're in a business to make money, but they're not chasing just the PlayStation guy. They're trying to chase more than that. They want PlayStation guy. They want the most angriest, Sony person on social media that just detests Xbox, they want to give them a reason to invest in the Xbox ecosystem. And how do you do that? With exclusive titles. It's the only way. You can't allow them to just keep playing the same games on their platform and think that they're now going to subscribe to Game Pass. That doesn't make any sense unless Game Pass comes to that platform. That's the point. So until that happens, you will not see these games on PlayStation. That's all I'm saying. So I know I've talked a
that's
bit
good.
here, but
It was good.
But yeah,
Very good.
that's just what I think. I mean, I'm not saying I'm right. It's all opinion because the truth is, none of us know. Nobody knows. The only people that know are in Redmond.
This is probably the question that a lot of people are wondering. What does it mean for first-party exclusives for something like an Elder Scrolls? Will we only see that on Microsoft systems, or will it go across other systems similar to what Microsoft has done with Minecraft?
Yeah, really excited about the announcement this week that we intend to acquire ZeniMax, an amazing studios there. Takes our overall first-party studio organization to 23 creative studios. Just a real big investment in content. And really, for us, Xbox Game Pass is the flywheel that we're feeding there. We have over 15 million subscribers now for Game Pass. And it continues to grow across console, PC, and now with streaming to phones. And we want to make sure that subscribers to Game Pass feel like they have a consistent set of games to go play. In terms of where games will show up, our commitment is that our games will show up in Game Pass and on PC and on console and be available in xCloud. In terms of other platforms, I think we'll take it on a case-by-case basis. But as the Xbox community, what they should feel is this is a huge investment in the experiences that they're going to have in the Xbox ecosystem. And we want the Xbox ecosystem to be absolutely the best place to play. And we think game availability is absolutely part of that.
All right. So listen to what he said.
Yep.
He said that these things, it's about Game Pass. It's about that investment into Game Pass. And this goes back to what I was talking about before. Game Pass ain't showing up on PlayStation. But Game Pass, guess where Game Pass is going to show up? It's going to show up on Xbox hardware. It's going to show up on the PC. It's going to show up on mobile. This is the point. They are going to put their titles to where Game Pass can also show up with it. This is the key to everything that they're doing. This is why he's talking case by case basis. That's just PR speak. Because if they were going to have games show up on the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation, they tell you that. They would say it out loud. But they're not saying that because this is not the same as the Minecraft deal. I know everyone keeps going back to the Minecraft deal. I get that they spent $2.5 billion on that. But you got to remember, there's no Minecraft 2. This is the difference here. There's not like they're coming out with a Minecraft 2. They're not going to rip away the Minecraft IP from its existing platforms because that's where it already lived. Same as they're not going to take away existing games from the platforms that they live on. So again, I'll go to the Deathloop thing. Deathloop, that deal is done. Deathloop is showing up on a PlayStation 5. So of course, they're going to support that. They're going to support the exclusive deal that Bethesda already negotiated. But I tell you this, if there's a loophole that Deathloop can also show up on Game Pass PC day one, bet it shows up there. I guarantee you the second that console exclusive deal ends for Deathloop, it's going to be on Xbox platform. It's going to be in Game Pass. It's going to be on mobile devices. That's the point I'm trying to make here. It's not about what already exists. It's about what's coming from them. So you have to look at it that way. And to be fair, I think, let's take a game like Quake as an example. Because even Minecraft Dungeons is actually a good example here. Minecraft Dungeons or In the Blind Forest, things like that. These are not major AAA titles that if they're exclusive to one platform, it's going to force you to want to go run out and buy an Xbox. I can see those kind of things showing up. You know, like I said, Quake as an example, being a multiplayer title with crossplay and all that, of course, they want as many people to jump in and play something like that. So something like Quake absolutely could show up on a PlayStation, could show up on a Switch, things like that. I'm talking about the big IPs. The big IPs will not show up on a PlayStation platform or a Nintendo platform until Game Pass can show up along with it. That's the point. And at that point, it ain't just about the individual title. It's about the entire Xbox ecosystem being available on the PlayStation platform or the Nintendo platform, because that's what Game Pass is all about. Microsoft is in the Game Pass business now. They're not in the individual physical copy disc business anymore. Of course, they're going to exist, but they're only going to exist on their platform in that scenario. They want you to subscribe. This is the point I'm trying to make here. When I saw this went down, that was my instant thought. This is about Game Pass. This is not about making PlayStation people happy. That they're not in that business. What they want to do is they want to take that PlayStation person and get them to be happy inside the Xbox ecosystem. That's the point. That this is why you spend, I'll say it again, $7.5 billion. You don't spend that amount of money for timed exclusive, comes to Xbox first. That makes no sense.
No sense.
Zero sense. You don't do that to when you like literally own these IPs. Like I said again, Todd Howard don't make the call no more. Phil Spencer makes the call on what happens with Bethesda IPs. You don't spend that amount of money to then just let Bethesda continue to be Bethesda. What are they, just a charity? Hey, Todd, here's $7 billion. Have fun. No, that's not the point.
A charity.
And let me throw this in there as well.
Yeah.
One other thing that Bethesda has that people aren't talking about is Orion. That was their cloud streaming tech. And supposedly it has some super low latency things in there that are revolutionary. Allegedly. I don't know for a fact. These are just, the internet. This is what I've read. But think about that as well. They're also acquiring that. Guess where that's going? That's going to get integrated into Project X Cloud, because again, the long game for them is the cloud. That's the long game, because that's going to enable more than just the standard 200 million people that play on console. That's going to enable the other people, the billions of people that play on mobile, to now start playing these games. And guess what? Subscribe to Game Pass. That's the whole end game here. So look, I'll say it one last time. I understand the arguments on the other side. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just pointing out where I'm leaning, what I think I see the direction that they're going. And again, none of us are going to know until Phil Spencer or Satya Nadella or someone specifically says it. Until we see a Wolfenstein 3 or Fallout 5 show up on a PlayStation platform, then you can say I'm wrong. But right now, I just don't see it. I don't see that happening, because you don't spend that amount of money on this kind of acquisition to just leave things exactly the way they were.